episodes as I continue to share the story of our daughter, JC, being diagnosed with a rare form of brain cancer from a parent's perspective, as well as a perspective of her siblings and my wife. I am now starting to have other families and organizations come in and share their perspective, because one side is one side, but there's a lot of different angles and views on this. And this community has done one thing for me, which has allowed us to meet a lot of incredible people. Unfortunately, people that we don't want to know because of this community, but people now that we would go scorched earth for and fight for, and we're glad to know them. So one person that we met unfortunately not too long before JC passed and before the Christmas that she passed was Mark from DC Strong. They had reached out to us. And so I'm going to introduce him now and allow him to share his story as well as inspiration for what he does. So Mark, the floor is yours.
Well, thanks, Curtis. Appreciate you having me on. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just like you said, right? Cancer, and particularly childhood cancer, kind of brings together people from all walks of life, from all corners of the earth. And it is kind of the crappiest club to be in, right? And especially as a parent, I'm sure you felt the same way. I felt unbelievably guilty, kind of helpless a little bit, especially at the beginning. Just kind of your world just gets rocked, right? And for us, it was our son Kevin. He's the youngest of our three kids. He was diagnosed, I believe it was February 6th of 2010, just before, about a month and a half before he turned 3, with stage 4 neuroblastoma, which is a cancer of the nervous system. And essentially he had about a softball-sized tumor pushing down his right kidney, and then it had spread to about 90% of his bone marrow by the time they got it, or by the time they found it. Immediately began chemotherapy, did some radiation, did some immunotherapy, did just all kinds of treatments. He fought for about 3.5 years and was super strong the entire time. And then unfortunately, neuroblastoma is just one of those, it's a bitch. Like, let's not say what it isn't, right? It's brutal. Not that any of the cancers are good, frankly. But I'm sure you probably ran into people like, oh, is it a good one? No, there is no good cancer, right? And so this one in particular is just incredibly nasty, incredibly fast growing. He actually went into quote unquote remission twice, but there's kind of the neuroblastoma doesn't really go into remission, and fully at least. And so came back kind of the third time, and unfortunately he passed away in 2013 at the age of 6. And like you said, we met some people, we met some amazing organizations. One of them in particular was DC Strong here in Michigan. It was formed by a high school students, but in particular Dustin Collier. Dustin was a kid that fought Wilms tumor from the age of about 5 or 6, and while in high school, he and his buddies made a bunch of shirts. Hey, Dustin, be strong. They sold the shirts. They gave him the money and said, hey, go do something stupid. Go enjoy yourself. And he's like, holy crap, I want to do this for other kids. And so while in high school, he and his buddies formed this 501c3 nonprofit. And our son, Kevin, was one of the first kids that DC Strong helped. And we saw these high school kids helping other kids. And we thought, what the hell is this? And so we started going to their fundraisers. I eventually became a volunteer board member. And then started delivering some care packages kind of throughout the country. And I was fortunate enough to be able to give JC a care package. And unfortunately, like you said, it wasn't too long after that. And especially with Kevin, it was the same way. He kind of got his care package and his dream day on Saturday, ended up passing the following Tuesday. So it was just kind of, but it was kind of a last hurrah. It was the last time we got to see kind of him smile. So we were forever grateful and are forever grateful. And I've kind of, I don't know, attached myself to the organization in some small way and enjoy them. And we're still part of the family, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. I remember, when you guys reached out the first time, and at that point, you're kind of going through this. We got reached out. A lot of people did. We got things sent in the mail of, the people that there was no return address. It's kind of weird, when you get that family, that support, that's there. Unfortunate side effect of that is a lot of that support goes away when your child passes away, which is something that I'm assuming you probably have felt too.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't truly understand why that happens. I mean, there's a lot of reasoning, but
Yeah.
that's something that you guys felt as well, is that a lot of that support system went away after he passed away?
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing, friends and family just kind of just stop reaching out. I mean, they're there for, a month or something, and hey, how's everything going? Just kind of checking in, and then it just kind of slowly fades away over time. And I sort of get it. Like I was upset at first, but I sort of get it because it's like it's a conversation non-starter, right? Hey, let's talk about your dead kid, right? And so like that can be brutal, and that's why I think that this kind of stuff is important, right? Because you and I both know what the fuck we're talking about, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's the worst, absolute worst club to be a part of, but it's somewhat comforting, at least knowing that there are other people that know exactly what you're thinking, what you're talking about, what you're going through. And it's just every journey is obviously a little bit different, but it's all kind of on the same path, right? And it's, and I know that our lives will never be the same, right? They're going to be different from now on. And I mean, part of that's okay, but part of that really fucking sucks, and it's
Yeah.
just, for me, it's amazing just to kind of, and I think what hurts the most, and I don't know how deep or anything we want to get, but for me, what hurts the most, and this has been 10 and a half years, is just kind of seeing the what if, what could have been, what, right, the missed potential. Like Kevin would be a junior in high school this year. Like who would he be hanging out with? What would he be playing sports or music or acting or all of those things? Who would he be dating? Would he be getting ready to go to prom? Would he be going to college? Would he be entering the working world? Like that's the kind of stuff that really kind of pisses me off, frankly, that I don't get to see that we don't get to see that.
Yeah, no, I think we're right on the same page with that. And I was actually just talking to my wife about it. And I've mentioned before in the past that I think that if you have other children, that every year becomes more and more difficult. We're coming up now in July, it'll be 3 years since JC passed. And so, our oldest is 18. She's going to be going to college in the fall. And our 15-year-old will be 16 in June, and she'll be driving, and all of these things every year, the accomplishments that JC will never get to do, never get to graduate college, never get to graduate high school, drive, make stupid mistakes that we all make as adults every day.
Yep.
She'll never get to do that. So I think where people say time heals all wounds, I think it gets worse every year. And that's the unfortunate part, is that I think when people decide that they're not going to be around us, they don't know how to talk to us, whatever the case may be. I think we need more support as time goes forward, not less, because we're learning to live this new normal. And it's like I said, it's the unfortunate side effect of this, is that, you had the whole community rally around you. And I even said to my wife, if you want to look at it like this, our bank account was never as big as it was when JC was sick, because everybody sent us money and all this stuff. And it just kind of sat there, because it was not like we were going out doing anything, but everybody wants to help. And now nobody's around. And if we're trying to host events, or we're trying to go to the Capitol and push legislation, it's like, yeah, we want to be there for you. And then nobody shows up.
Right.
We need these efforts moving forward, so that no other people have to feel this. But unfortunately, people have to understand that every single day you wake up, it could be your kid.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but it's and people, I think, are scared of, hey, I don't want to say the wrong thing, right? I don't want to bring it up and have you be sad, right? Like, fuck that. Like, I want to talk about my kid. Like, nothing brings me more joy, and to talk about all my kids, right? And so not being able to talk about Kevin to people, or not having the opportunity to talk about Kevin, is upsetting, right? And I think that we need to be okay with, hey, you know what, this is an uncomfortable topic, and this is you might get upset, I might get upset, I might cry, you might cry, and that's fucking okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that, like going back to the Jimmy V speech at the ESPYs 30 years ago, like each day you should laugh, you should take some time to think, and you should be moved to tears. Like that's a full day. Like that needs to be more acceptable. And especially with us, with the quote, the tough tough guy mentality. Like, no, I'll break down and cry. I listen to songs on the radio and I'm driving, I'm bawling my eyes out. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. And it feels good, frankly. And I wish that dudes could do that more often. Right.
Right. Yeah. I think I don't want to say we're in a different club or whatever, but it definitely, you don't see a lot of, in this community, you don't see a lot of fathers that are on the front lines. You really don't. I think that maybe it's just our generation. I don't know, but we kind of we're assumed to carry the weight and shut up and, get in the back and just, be there as the rock. To be honest with you, with my wife and I'm the one that's more emotional about things. I'm the one that listens to songs or has a bad day because everything reminds me of her. And it's like, I'm the one doing that. And it takes a lot to get her to be super emotional. But when it comes to fathers and dads out there, I would love the same thing. Just allow yourself to be vulnerable and be out there, because we want to be supported, but we also want you to know that, listen, we cry too. We break down. Sometimes it takes a lot, sometimes it takes a little, but we're in the same boat as everybody else, but we're almost like in our own little club over here. And people just assume, well, you know what, they're guys, they're fine. They'll be just fine. It's no big deal. It's like, no, but at the same time, we don't go to our guy friends, or you don't think about it, say, hey, let's go have a beer and talk about some sad stuff.
Right.
We don't do that, but but I wouldn't be opposed to just having somebody that you could actually feel comfortable with enough to do that without being made to feel like, I guess, you're a wimp or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's just, like you said, it's one of those things that's almost not inbred, but like that's the way it's always been. So that's the way it's going to be. Right.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate what you're doing. Right. Not only with this podcast, but just you're one of those guys that's pissed off and that's out here like punching people in the throat, metaphorically, obviously, about hey, you need to wake up. Like this is happening. The statistics are they're fucking terrible. Basically, an entire school classroom plus some is diagnosed with cancer every fucking day. An entire school's classroom, that entire classroom throughout the country is getting diagnosed with cancer. And that's like, how is that acceptable? Right. And it's one of those things where you start like just screaming at the moon and stuff, but you're like, what the fuck? Like we're not a third world country. Like, can we get some funding for this? And it's just, that's, I think what kind of really gets me fired up is just the research aspect, right? Of like, come on, let's go. Like, I don't know how it was with you guys, but with us, like Kevin was getting some fucking chemos that were from like the 1980s. It's like, really, this is the best we have right now. And so even if it's, hey, yeah, it's being, somewhat effective on his cancer, but oh yeah, by the way, he's going to have hearing loss, he's going to have heart issues, he's going to be sterile, he's going to have kidney issues. It's like, no, like this is not acceptable, and it's just, you're out here leading the charge, and I want to be like a sergeant in your army, man. Like I'm ready to lead my little platoon and say, let's go, let's fucking storm this hill, let's kick this fucking disease in the nuts, and let's go. Like, it's just, I don't know. I get fired up. I'm sorry.
No, that's good, because there's far too many people that are afraid to get out there and be on the front lines, knowing that they're going to hear no over and over and over and over again. And to me, every time that I've been in front of politicians or Senate committees or whatever, I love hearing no, because that just means I'm going to scream even louder. And if you think that me walking out that door means that I'm done, then you're sadly mistaken. I'm going to be here and I'm going to be up your ass until you decide to do something, because every single one of you has kids, every single one of you. And like I've said in the past, every politician, when they left, right, down the middle, doesn't matter. Every single campaign has mentioned kids, every single one of them, and continue to. You want kids this, kids that. Okay, but there's not going to be any kids if we don't start fixing this problem right now. They're not going to be there to vote for you. They're not going to be there to help you with your policies or to be your right hand man or woman. They're not going to be there if you don't fix this issue. Going to DC every year and hearing them talk about how we've increased funding from 4% to 8%.
Yeah.
That still sucks. 8%. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching videos the other day about, we're $95 billion more going somewhere else. You spend $250 million on pediatric cancer research. That is garbage. That is less than the toilet paper budget for the White House for the year. Okay. That's horrible. $250 million. I think Mark Cuban makes that in about 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, good on him for his cost plus drugs thing. Like that's amazing, right? That's trying to help a situation, a problem that we have. But, when you talk about the drugs that are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, and they're before they can go in for chemo, we have to get a baseline on their hearing. We have to get a baseline on their vision, on their lungs and their heart, because this is going to affect them. And they're going to go through chemo, but they're going to be on 17 drugs for the rest of their life. And they have a 95% chance of developing another cancer. Like, how is that fixing anything? How is that making it better? How is that okay to think we're developing these new therapies? Well, your new therapies suck, because they're when we went and they say, okay, well now pediatric cancer has an 80% cure rate. Okay. I'll go with you on that 80% cure rate, but you have a 95% chance of side effects that will ruin the rest of your life.
That's
so right. I would rather have a lower cure rate and the side effects be a lot less than you saying I'm going to cure it. Okay. But it's not, we're going to make your life worse. And it's, when you're going through this, and I said it before, a bruise is not a bruise, a headache's not a headache, a cough is not a cough when you're going through this. And you're going, the side effects, you're on edge of your seat for the rest of your life. And these kids are the kids, their innocence, I think, is what drives me so hard, because their innocence and genuine hearts are what we're missing in this world right now. And the fact that they care more about how we're going to handle things if they're not here is what we're missing. And they go through this with a smile on their face while we're breaking down in the corner. But they know what's happening, and we don't give them enough credit for understanding what's happening. And even the parents don't get enough credit for understanding the big words that our doctors told us. Well, we didn't tell you this or that because those are medical terms. Like, if you don't think we understand what you're doing, then again, you got your degree out of a Cracker Jack box then.
Yeah, it can be so overwhelming, right? And then you just kind of have to almost just take a breath and look back and stuff. Like Kevin, was so young, right? And while he was fighting, and then there were just certain things that you're just like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I remember him asking Addie, our middle daughter, hey, when you were in the hospital, did you play with these toys and stuff? And like everybody, and when they're 2 or 3, just goes to this hospital and does these things. And then, you know what I mean? And he couldn't comprehend that other people didn't have to do this, that his sisters didn't have to do this. Right. And it's just, that's kind of the sad part too, is that this was so normal to him that, oh yeah, I go to the clinic today, and I stay there overnight sometimes. And, I stay there for a week sometimes. And it's just, the being on the edge of your seat. I remember distinctly, just every time my fucking phone rang for my wife, I would what is it going to be like? Just waiting for those first 3 seconds of her tone while she's talking to me. Like, is this going to be a good news call? Is this going to be a bad news call? Or is this just going to kind of be a neutral call, right? Because that chances are it's going to be a bad news call, right? Like, hey, shit, or, Kevin did something or his counts went up and we're on the way to the hospital now. Can you meet us there? Kind of a thing. Like, that happened so many times. And I'm sure you had the same perspective. And it's just, you just constantly have that pit in your stomach of, oh crap, like what is today going to bring? Like, is today going to be a good day? Is today going to be a bad day? And it's just kind of that roller coaster of just up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. There wasn't a whole lot of flat. It was either up or is it down, and it's just trying to make those downs as shallow as possible, I guess, and then trying to bring everything up. And meanwhile, you got two older kids, and you're trying to just not have it be so fucked up for them. Like we're still dealing with the after effects 10 years later. Like our oldest, I don't know how much time we got, but our oldest has dealt with some fucking hardcore mental health issues directly related to this, right? Like, and it's the hand grenade that this fucking disease is for the rest of the family is just unprecedented. Like you think, oh, it's just this, and it's not. The aftershock, 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 and it's just constant day by day. Oh, what's today going to bring? You know, it's going to, oh, today's going to be fine, and you're going to be fine, and you might have some very, very good days, but then there's that little demon kind of waiting around the corner that's going to sneak up and get you, you know, when you're least expecting it, you know, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's hard sometimes. It is very, very hard sometimes. And so I guess that's kind of what I want to bring out to other people, that it's going to fucking suck some days, but you know, hopefully that this kind of stuff can help others, because it definitely helps me. Like I absolutely love this. I love talking about Kevin. I love talking to other people about their experiences, and it I think it does help, frankly. So.
No, it absolutely does. And I think that's part of the reason, not only doing this, but why social media has been such an outlet for me, because we've met so many families that were kind of, we joke that we have to create a spreadsheet so I can remember the names and the diagnosis and stuff like that. But it's definitely become one of those things where now if something goes on with one of the families, and, you know, then we have groups and Snapchat groups and all this stuff, and they're reaching out, hey, this is what happened today. This is what's going on now. And we give, you know, unsolicited advice, I would say, that not like, don't do exactly what we're saying, but hey, this is what we dealt with. If we can help guide you in some way, or kind of give you that comfort of knowing that you can reach out anytime to us. For probably hundreds of people, my phone number is public. And if you have, you know, you just want to unload or something like that, like I've always said that I'm here because I'm part of this club or this group that understands exactly what you're going through and what you're feeling at that moment. And so we've tried to do that. Now, our girls handled it exactly opposite of each other. So our oldest, she very much does not talk about Jace. She doesn't really, she just doesn't wear like the gold ribbons, doesn't wear the bracelets. She's just one of those, like, I love her. I keep her with me and all this kind of stuff, but I don't want to live in that world. Yep. Whereas our 15-year-old is all about it. She travels to DC with us. She wants to go to Congress with us. She goes to Madison. She wants to be a part of it. And it's decided that child life is going to be her chosen course of career because of all this, which is amazing. Yeah. But they've dealt with it so polar opposite. And right. It's we've always said, you know, we're not going to force you to talk about it. We're not going to force you to go to therapy. We're not going to do any of that. If whatever you need, you let us know and we'll kind of be there by your side. But it is incredible. And a hand grenade is such an amazing analogy, because what it does to every single person of the family is different depending on what shrapnel hits you. You know what I mean? And how they choose to move forward with it, how they choose to live with it or accept it is so different and so out there. Both of our girls have been part of a group in school, that like a class called Incubator, where they are able to go in and create products and then market them to sharks. Nice. And so our oldest created a port pillow, which, you know, goes over the seatbelt, and we still include those in our care packages today. We have somebody that makes them for us. And our other daughter right now is creating a shirt that's very close to like the comfy, cozy type thing, but allows for a lot of different other options. And she's very excited about it and she's just driven. And it's incredible to see this is the way they're honoring their sister. They're honoring the people in this community. But the way that everybody handles it is so different and so polar opposite. But yeah, we do need more dialogue, more people to be able to be willing to come out and talk about it. And I've said before that if your child passes away, and we've met families that then kind of just fade into the background. They don't want to be part of it anymore. And others that are right out in front of it. And there's no right or wrong way. but
Exactly.
I wish more people would just embrace it and, listen, it happened. You can't change it now, but let's try to change it for the future. And that's kind of our goal with this, is to make it different for everybody in the future.
Yeah. No, I think that is absolutely spot on. And doing stuff like this, it really does help, right? Because yeah, like you said earlier, I mean, it's going to happen to somebody in your life. It might not be your immediate family, but it's going to be a friend, a family, a coworker, something. It's just way too common now. It's just way too connected to everything, and it's going to happen to someone you love. And if this helps that in some small way, then we're good, right? Like we've helped with our mission, and obviously there's still more work to be done, right? Like, I mean, we still have to be advocates. We still have to be out here screaming from the hilltops until somebody listens. And I don't know that it's ever going to be perfect, but it can certainly be better than it is now, right? Like it can certainly we can have more of an effect. We can be stronger. We can raise more money. We can be, awareness, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I feel like at some point, like we have to move from kind of awareness to what the fuck are you doing, right? Let's take some action. Like, let's go. Like, are you with me or are you not, right? And so it's almost I don't want to say militant, but it has to be like a call to action. Frankly, like it's got to be like, hey, you said you're going to be about it. Like the proof is in the pudding. Like, are you standing next to me or are you not, right? And so, yeah, like I said, it gets me very, very fired up. I try to practice what I preach, and so we do fundraisers, and we try to that is kind of our role in this world, in this fight, is to try to just get these organizations some funding, man. Like that's what we're about. We were lucky enough, and I don't know, can I go on a little spiel on a tangent here?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we like you said, we met a ton of fantastic organizations right along the way, and we just kind of picked our favorites, right? Frankly, and so one of them was Make-A-Wish. We got a wish trip for Kevin's 4th birthday. He wanted to go down and see Mickey's house, and so we went to Disney World and just absolutely treated like royalty the entire time. They sent a fucking limo to our house, right, and picked us up and took us to the airport and et cetera, et cetera. We didn't stand in line at any of the rides, right? He had a little wish button, and we got to go to the front of the line and go to VIP areas and completely paid for. Everything was amazing. Like we'll never be able to take a trip like that again, frankly. And so when we got back, I was like, holy crap, like I need to pay this forward. Like this is just too much, right? You just get overwhelmed, you feel guilty, the whole 9 yards. And so I found that Make-A-Wish here in Michigan has a 3-day, 300-mile bike ride. And I was like, well, I'm not really a cyclist, but Kevin absolutely loves to ride his bike, just up and down a driveway, up and down, up and down, up and down. We kind of live in the country a little bit, so we got a decently long driveway, and he would just cruise up and down, up and down. So I'm like, well, this will get my little fat ass back into some sort of shape, and I start training for this ride. And I just kind of by accident became this accidental cyclist. And so this will be the 13th year I do that ride. My wife now rides with me. It's something that we find very, very therapeutic. We can just go out there and talk and not worry about anything. And so anyway, Make-A-Wish was one of the organizations that we started fundraising for quite a bit. And then DC Strong as well. And then Cure Search, which, as you know, is a research organization, a funding site essentially for new therapies, for new treatments, but only for pediatric cancer. And so this is kind of how I've tried to kind of keep going, keep pushing, use my energy and stuff. And so I found an even dumber ride, Curtis. So in May, next month, hopefully, if everything works out, I'm going to try to ride the Continental Divide from Antelope Wells, New Mexico, up to Banff, Alberta, Canada, 2,775 miles on a bicycle to raise money for those 3 organizations. So if I can plug it, please go to epicbikeride.org. Again, EPICBIKE ride.org, epicbikeRide.org, all one word. You can see, we'll hopefully post pictures there and videos and all that kind of fun stuff. And if anybody is out there that wants to come ride 2,775 miles on a bicycle with me, let me know. Because, yeah, it's going to be dumb. It's going to be stupid. It's going to suck. But hopefully it's going to be awesome as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. And
Yeah.
I commend you. I commend you for that. I don't envy but that's awesome though. And listen, I think, the stuff that we do often, that we've raised, this, like every year now we have our gala, and we're, our goal is 25,000 every year. And the first year was 17,000. Last year was 25. This year's 25 again, and we're about $800 shy of that goal already this year. But a lot of that has come from being stupid on social media. And, it's like, and, obviously we've hurt ourselves. We are tattooed, we're pierced, like things are happening to us, but we're putting ourselves through this because, right, no amount of pain or suffering that we go through for this is anything compared to what these kids go through. So it's like, you know what? Yeah, it's going to suck. It's going to be horrible. And we've been through it, and we're going to continue to do it because these kids matter so much. So to be able to do anything like that, I mean, I commend you, man. That is awesome. And if anybody wants to check that out, please do. I'll make sure that I put it in the show notes and stuff like that.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, but definitely it's one of those things where, this year, every year our gala is geared towards research. And so this year we're donating to OncoHeroes Biosciences, which only does pediatric cancer drugs. That's all they do. And they rescue drugs that are put on the shelf because the FDA will not approve them if the pharmaceutical companies refuse to test them in childhood instances. So they buy the rights to these drugs. And I think they have currently 3 that they are working on that they either own or they're in the process of owning the rights to test them in about 8 different instances of childhood cancer. So this is, again, this is the backbone of this is research. We have got to get things under control when people are trying to look for these different answers. Well, the problem is the research isn't being funded and there's no money there. And I've been lucky enough to be able to meet an amazing doctor here that he has an entire lab that is dedicated to neuroblastoma. And awesome. I was able to tour his lab, and they're doing incredible work, and they've got incredible students, grad students and undergrads that are doing this work. And I'm amazed at what they've been able to come up with and what will happen just simply from that. And I've got some other things cooking in the books right now that we're trying to get done here in Wisconsin that I hope can be spread across the country and make a massive difference. And again, I always say that organizations like ours, we are kind of the antithesis of business, right? We want to go out of business. We don't want to be doing this anymore. So until something like that happens and we're able to get something off the ground from there on out, and I will say this, I will always feel as a father as a failure. I feel like I failed her. Now, we know in our hearts, right, that we've done everything we could for our kids. We did everything to make it possible. And this is one of those things that's just out of our hands. But you will always feel that sense of failure. And for me, I will always feel it unless I can make something happen. And her name has to be in lights because that's the way that she always wanted it to be. And it doesn't matter how it is, but it needs to be out there because these kids, their life needs to not have been in vain, and they're moving forward with whatever we do is all in their honor. And whether we're riding bikes or getting tattooed, we're doing something because we want to make sure that no other families have to feel the way that we did. Make-A-Wish is a great organization. JC got her Make-A-Wish the day before she started chemo. We had to rush it because we wanted to make sure she had that. And unfortunately, at that point, there were no travel wishes and things like that, but she picked something that she loved. And I just want to say too, that we also saw Make-A-Wish Michigan, the commercial that's currently on TV now, the little boy that wanted to be a dinosaur. I don't know if you've seen that commercial, but that is about the most wholesome wish I've ever seen in my entire life. That is just incredible because that just proves the innocence and genuine of these kids. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to be a dinosaur.
Right.
And and the effort that they put into that, it was just amazing. And There's far too many people, I think, that don't really understand Make-A-Wish. I know I find a lot of times we're trying to kind of correct people, and for them to understand what it is. It's not always a bad thing or a terminal thing. It's
Yep.
about giving kids what they deserve, at that moment in time. And so we love them. And hopefully I'm working on having an interview with the Wisconsin branch at some point on the show soon, so we can kind of get their, input on things. But I'm excited to see what you guys are doing. The bike ride's incredible. I'm sorry I can't make it. I don't have a bike anymore, but
we can fix that. We can fix that.
We'll get one of those 2-seater ones like that. We'll tandem ride.
Yep. I'll get you a little sidecar and you can just like drink the beers as we're going. Right.
Oh, that's great. I mean, you need a cameraman. I'll be there for you.
Right.
I'm on it, man.
Exactly.
I said that's the only way I'm allowed to ride a motorcycle, by the way, too, is through a sidecar. So just my wife said I can't do it. So, but yeah. Do you have anything else that is coming up with DC Strong or anything like that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I know that they do various fundraiser and various events and kind of various family days here in Michigan. They're trying to have more of a statewide presence like throughout the country, but it's very, very difficult. It's all volunteers, and I've actually kind of I have taken a step back from them just because I want them to be what they were. I want them to be high school kids, helping people. And I started doing some of the care packages, and I was sitting on the floor in a family's house with like a 4-year-old. I'm like, this probably looks a little weird that like here's this, now 50-year-old dude that's hanging out with their kid, right? Like, with them, obviously. But it's just, they're an incredible organization. If you go to dcstrong.org, they've got, events that are listed there. What else? The bike ride is getting, we're planning that and trying to get ready for that and trying to put some miles on. And then, I would love to be more, politically motivated, I guess, if you call it that. Like I would love, and I know I think I've said this before, and I've not fallen through on it, but I would love to march on Washington with you to get some more funding for this, because it is truly a travesty what they spend on other stuff and what they don't spend on our kids, right? Like that's just I don't know that can be stressed enough. I think I want to be more part of that world. I don't fucking like politicians, frankly, but I'm willing to go and scream at them, to if that helps. And so, I think that I guess that's kind of it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's
kind
fine.
Of petered out at the end.
No, that's fine. We so from September 18th through the 23rd, we'll be in DC this year for CureFest. And that again that's the biggest time for us and the entire community to come together. We have more people coming this year now that have come ever before, at least with our group of friends and stuff. So it's always invited everybody that can come and see, even if you're not part of the community, to come and see what we're about and how strong and loud that we are, because we come together. You're with a group of people that truly understands you, that truly is there for you. And the advocates that are there, a lot of which I've been able to meet, are incredible. Even the ones that are not personally affected, but maybe had friends or things like that, they might even be more motivated than some other people just because they want to see such a big change. And a lot of these people are so young and they're advocating so loud on these capital steps. And I love it. And so we're trying to be we'll be there. We're there every year, and there's a lot of other things that go on in DC that we'd love to be a part of. We're working on stuff like that, but if you ever want to be a part of it, just let us know. If you're able to come, let us know. I mean, we will be there, and it's an incredible experience. The possibility of us being able this year to speak at the White House is there. I've been wanting to be able to be there for the last couple of years, and obviously it's not easy just to walk in those doors. So I was able to speak to Dr. Young, which is the White House correspondent doctor that's on the Moonshot program. Whether, whatever you feel about that program is what it is. I'm not excited about it really because it doesn't really mention pediatrics in it. I think one time. And so, but I've been able to speak with her and have the opportunity to be there. And I feel like that's reaching a certain pinnacle to be there, and tell JC's story and tell the story of all these other kids and families. And like I've said in the past too, the RRD doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care. That doesn't mean anything to me because this is the most non-partisan, non-political issue there is in this world is kids.
Yep.
Whether you have them or whether you're fighting for them, they are the future, whether you like it or not. And we need to be there for them. So it's definitely a very, very cool experience. And if you're ever able to make it there, we would love to have you and we'd love to, get together. And obviously we're just a border state away here. And,
Yep.
we're, like I said, our event is in August, and that's something really cool that we're trying to do. We had to shift locations this year. Had a little bit of a scare thinking we were going to find a new place because freaking people that plan weddings a year and ahead. We did ours in 6 months. So,
Right.
but yeah, it's been tough, but we're, a lot of exciting things going on. A lot of things are in the hopper right now. So
Excellent. And tell the people the date. Tell the people the date of your event.
So our event is August 17th. Here in Appleton, Wisconsin. It is at the Hilton Paper Valley, Appleton downtown. So extremely nice location, a little bit of an upgrade from where we were. And our website, battlecorncarepackages.com, is out there. All the information is there, as well as all the other events that we're working on this year. Trying to do as much as we can to not only build community support, but put a little bit more money in the bank so we can keep doing what we're doing. Our package requests have been outrageous this year. I think we've had 141 so far this year, which is it's incredible. It's way up from where we've been in the past, and it's kind of a funny goal of my business partner is that when you do business under 50,000, you only have to use the postcard for the IRS when you're filling out your 990. The goal of his is always to get us over that, so that I have to fill out the long forms. So right. I'm preparing for that, but. Again, this is one of those things where that money doesn't stay with us. We spend it on the packages and the advocation and all that kind of stuff. We don't take salaries. And as far as I'm concerned, nonprofits that have salaries kind of defeats the purpose.
Right.
But that's where we are. So that's, I don't know if you've got anything else you want to throw out there.
No, I think that covers it. I mean, you like I said, you're out here, screaming from the mountaintops, and I want to stand right next to you. Like this is we're at a stage in our lives now, right, where this is it. Like, not okay, I don't want to say it like that, but like this is a giant portion of who we are, and I think it's one of those that's going to continue to be. And like you said earlier, like there are some families that kind of they enter into this world, and then once they're part of it, once their role is done, they kind of back away, and that's totally fine. But there still have to be a few people that are out there still fighting, right? And so I'm happy to be part of that with you.
Good. And we're glad to have it. This, the army that we're trying to build, or that we've tried to build for the past 3 years, is only continuing to get bigger. And I state that for any politician that happens to come across this recording or this podcast, understand that we're coming, man. We don't, we're not going to break windows and tear doors down, but at the same time, theoretically we are, because we're tired of being told that if we say yes to you, we have to say yes to everybody. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You say yes to us because it's an important part of our future. And without this important part of our future being taken care of, there's no future for you or I. And we need to take care of that. We need to make a difference. I don't like the politicking side of this, but at the same time, it's a massive part of what we have to do to be able to make these big changes. And I'm doing everything that I can. I've been told in the past that I'm just one voice, and that is true, but it's a very loud voice, and and I've taken on this role extremely seriously. But the more people we have on this side, the more people we have in this army, the bigger it's going to be. So we are glad to have you and anybody else that wants to be a part of this group and part of this family to continue to fight for change. so that we don't have to continue to grow our club of being angel parents.
Yep.
It's not the right way the world's supposed to work. We are not
Right.
supposed to bury our kids,
Yep.
and it's something that needs to change right now. So it was awesome talking to you today, and I'm so glad that we had this opportunity to kind of catch up. I'll definitely be paying attention, and I hope there's some pictures and videos of this ride coming up. And
Absolutely.
if you can pay attention to the scenery while you're on the bike there for
Right.
a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But that's awesome, though. I'm excited. I'm glad that you found something that is therapeutic to you. That
Yep.
therapy comes in so many different ways. It doesn't always have to be sitting on a couch, with
Yep.
somebody with a notepad. We all find it in different ways, and I'm glad that you've been able to find that. So that's awesome.
Thanks, Curtis. I appreciate it. And like I said, anytime you need to talk, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And yeah, thank you for having me for the opportunity, and love to talk more.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it, man. You take care of yourself, and you good luck with everything that you've got going on, and good luck with the ride. And tell the family we said hello, and you've got the same offer your way. If you ever need anything, you let us know.
Likewise. Perfect. Hugs
All
to
right.
all you guys. All right.
Thank you.
Love you,
Take care,
buddy.
man.
See ya.